Hello and welcome to episode number 43 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. We are a weekly discussion podcast created for Nintendo gamers by Nintendo gamers. It is the week of April 15th. My name is Daryl and I was let off. I was not convicted by the sheer, just ingenuity of my lawyer. It was amazing. Speaking of, Sergio, how are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing well.
keeping it low key today, huh?
Man, it's been a good week for gaming. Definitely, it's Switch oriented as it should be.
It really has. Yeah. So, Kevin, how you doing? How's your week been? What are you drinking tonight? I hesitate to ask.
Sup, y'all? Doing pretty well. Interesting enough, I have oolong tea that I made earlier this morning, but completely forgot until now. I had it in my traveler's mug, and I just neglected to drink it until now. I'm like, wait a second, because I thought it was gonna be water, right? Because in my traveler mug, I was drinking. I'm like, wait, it's not water, it's oolong tea, and I'm like, okay, guess it works. So I'm primed to position. Yeah.
Now it's oolong term tea.
I'm primed to position. Oolong tea. We gotta make that hashtag.
That was a reach. that was pretty rough.
That was Dragon style.
Yeah, yeah. That was. Oh man. So I mean, yeah, it's been a really good week to be a Switch gamer, and I'm excited about tonight, just because we got some fun stuff to talk about. Speaking of, Kevin, what are we talking about?
You know what? I'm uber excited too, and we're gonna talk about a bunch of games that came out this week. A bunch of games that just exploded onto the scene. Whether you're looking at the left to right, it's just like these games are coming that were talked about.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. From the Indie Showcase, from before that. I mean, oh man, I'm excited. It's gonna be good, including one that we just started playing, which we'll get into later. But for now, we got a bunch of games, as mentioned, and there we go. That's the theme.
All right, so I'm just gonna jump right in. So last night, promptly at 9 p.m., the evening of April 17th, Joker was released into Smash, and we were all able to smoothly download it and had no issues doing that. And we got a whole evening to play as him, and that's been great. So Sergio, what do you think with that evening?
Yeah, I think it went so smoothly that everyone kind of has already had their fill of Joker. And I know everyone is already expecting, when's the next DLC? I'm done with Joker. I had so many hours last night.
So I tried for something like 2 hours last night to actually download this freaking update. And
dang.
So apparently Nintendo servers were on fire or something, and something was going drastically wrong. Meanwhile, some people actually were able to download the update and get the character, although not play online. So you got like streamers streaming Joker gameplay, and meanwhile I'm like, okay, restart download. Oh, it failed. Okay, restart download. Oh, it failed. For like seriously, over an hour of just like watching TV, trying it over and over. That was rather frustrating. But I mean, I finally did download this morning for me, so I have been able to play him some this evening. Sergio, what about you? Have you been able to get the new update?
Yes, this morning I was actually wondering if maybe it was going to be still a little bit slow or something. But no, it finally went smooth. It took, about 5 minutes to download and install. And yeah, you're right there. You get everything. Yeah, Joker is pretty cool, actually. I like the way he controls. It's something about it kind of connects with me. And, there's a lot of features that he has. Very interesting character, very counter-based. But yeah, I pretty much like it. And of course, the stage mementos, man, and the music. Amazing music.
Yeah, so just a quick shout out to our friend Monty for pulling the song that showed up in Smash for one of our prior music episodes, which, by the way, I said, how awesome would it be if 3, 2, 1, baby, baby, baby. It's totally in there. Totally happened. I mean, that is confirmed. So I'm actually pretty happy. So I instantly went into the My Music settings within Smash and turned every other song to 0 and turned that one to 100%. And now I'm happy every time that stage comes. I mean, not to say anything about the rest of the music, but that one song, Mass Destruction, is just, oh man, that's hype for a battle. And I like the blue stage a lot. So yeah, it wins out. It just wins out. Yeah, so the stage actually changes color based on which game's music it's playing, which that's pretty neat.
That's nice touch, yeah.
The red to me is a little hard to look at, to be honest.
Okay.
It's a little I don't know, something about it just a little harsh. The yellow's okay, but the blue's where it's at.
Personally, I haven't. I have downloaded the update this morning when I woke up, but haven't played as Joker yet. But with that being said, what's the scene like? Like, are there a lot of people playing as Joker? Are you playing mirror matches and competition? And what is the best thing you like about the character so far?
So I'm gonna quote Ryan from Xenoblade Chronicles 1, and just say, going into quick play right now, what a bunch of Jokers.
Oh, boom!
Just like, there's tons of them, and I was adding to them. So I played the Ditto match a ton today. And yeah, just to share my thoughts on the character a little bit, man, he's fast, and he is not. I don't get the same feeling that I did with some of the DLC characters in Smash for Wii U, where you played them and you're like, oh no, this is way too good. I don't get that feeling. I think he feels balanced to me. He is fast. He kind of slightly reminiscent of somebody like Sheik, actually. Like there's some similarities there, but a few little quirks to his moveset, particularly the Scorpion. Get over here, grapple hook. I love, and I like his overall moveset. I like how it changes when he actually gets the persona. I like him a lot more than I thought I would. So that's actually rather nice.
Right.
Good stuff.
I'm surprised because I played 3 quick matches this morning, and I was expecting to fight a Joker, but I didn't.
Whoa.
So you were the problem, not everybody else. But no, I mean, so for me, really good sign of things to come, and really like the stage. Really, really like the stage. Actually, I would advocate for it to be legal in some formats in tournament. Really, really like it. Like the character, think he's good, and actually really fun to play. So can we talk about the other updates to the game? So what they've gone and added some replay features, so video editing features, so like you can kind of make your own combo videos in the game now, which is, oh man, that's gonna get a lot of use. And you can put like words and graphics and transitions between the clips and stuff. It's pretty slick. I haven't played around with it yet, but I want to, just to make some funny stuff and just see what happens. And the bigger one for me is the stage builder, actually. Stage builder is super cool this time around. Sergio, have you messed with it at all?
Not in terms of making something. Well, we did watch, we kind of had like a 15-minute video with the details and everything that the 3.0 update is bringing. Yeah. And they kind of went over pretty well as far as all the things that you can do. And they showed some stages that look really cool already. And also the fact that you can just share them. You go into share mode in the online connections, and you can download anyone's stage just for free. Amazing.
And I mean, you can make some crazy stuff in there based on that video that they're showing. Which, by the way, kudos to Nintendo for shadow dropping a mini Smash Direct out of nowhere. That was pretty hilarious. But yeah, I mean, you can do a lot with this stage builder that you could not do in prior games. Yes. So I don't know. I think there might be some cool stuff there. I haven't gotten a chance to play with it too much. I drew some lines and saw how it worked a little bit earlier, and that was kind of my extent. But I'll play around with it and see what I can do. It seems actually rather neat. So I'm pretty happy about it. So I think that's probably it for Smash. This is kind of a perennial game. It will swing back whenever we hear about the next DLC character, which I would assume will be sooner rather than later, and we've got 4 more of these at least. So,
yeah,
man.
I was sort of expecting them to announce who the next one is gonna be when Joker dropped, but I guess they kind of dropped him so out of nowhere that they're probably not even ready or decided who's gonna be number 2.
I hope they know at this point.
I think they do. I'm thinking they're gonna announce it in E3. I think that'll be probably the best time. I mean, it's like probably the best time to announce the second character. So that I'm putting my money on that.
And could they maybe announce and drop it on day one?
You know what?
They easily
that would be
could.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, thinking back to Wii U, the DLC characters pretty much had their own little showcase. So I remember when Cloud joined Smash, they just advertised, "Hey, tune in for a Smash broadcast," and it's like a 3-minute Smash video, and everybody's like, "Oh, new character," and we had no idea what was coming. No idea.
Yeah, in what Joker sort of points towards is that it's gonna be a full package. You get the character, the stage, and music, of course, but this time we got a lot of music. We even got some of the characters from the Persona series are part of, the stage, the final Smash. So even some of the Mii costumes. So it's like it's a complete package, and that just says, whoever the other four are gonna be, it's gonna be not just them, but pretty much their entire families.
Yeah, just a quick shout out. I really like what they did with like Joker's winning animations and stuff. Like
Yes.
the results screen is super cool. He's just a stylish character, and I think they did really well. To be honest, I'm as somebody who is not a huge Persona fan. I haven't played the series before. Actually, I'm pretty impressed with what they did with this character. It's pretty cool to get to play him and see that they seem to have really taken as many references as possible to kind of tell the person like me, this is who Joker is, and that's pretty cool. I'm happy with it.
Good stuff. I actually have a question about that. Well, not so much Joker, but is there any sort of reference, or does Morgana the cat, does she show up?
Yeah, all over the place. In the taunts, in the windscreens, everywhere.
That's awesome, because I actually have a Morgana beanie hat from E3. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I was thinking about when to talk about that, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's most appropriate. But yeah, I went to E3, or the last time I went to E3 with some of my buddies. It was probably the best swag at the time. And everybody wanted a hat, and so we were all waiting outside like the Atlas, the booth area, and I'm sure the Atlas crew were like, oh gosh, like they just want the hat. They just want the hat. They're not here for the games. They want the hat. Well, maybe for the games, but they want the hat. So, and I swear, like when they were bringing out the boxes, we were all trying to crowd in, and then my leg was literally crushed at a 45-degree angle for like 2.5 minutes. I literally thought that I was gonna get injured just to get this hat.
I lost my leg, but I got the hat.
Just the hat. And then we got it. But then there were people just pushing, shoving them. Like, yo, it's kind of rude though. But I mean, everybody wanted the hat, and then all four of us got the hat. We took a picture. I'll share it after this recording. So, oh yeah. So that was just. I just thought of that when we were talking about or Persona 5. Anyway. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. I mean, I think that's all I've got for Smash right now, other than it's still, turns out it's still a good game. I'm still enjoying it. So, hey, great. Just more of it. That's
nice.
Awesome. So since we kind of left you out, Kevin, you want to go on to the next new game that we've been playing?
Yeah, so next game, well, I only played for about 34 minutes so far, but I recently started playing Final Fantasy X HD Remastered. And, even though I only played for 34 minutes, like, it was definitely... I'm thinking, like, man, I wish I could have played this game sooner, because for what it is, the graphics, even with, like, on handheld, and just the setting with, like, just starting the game, and just feeling like, just that old-school Final Fantasy again, with a different touch. I personally enjoyed it so far, even though it's only been 34 minutes since I played, but... I'm hoping to play some more this weekend, and yeah, like I know people complain about the voice acting. I even got people who told me, "Don't turn on voice acting. Just don't turn on the voices."
Oh, wow.
I'm like, well, you know what? I could see that. There are people who favor the Japanese voice acting more over the English voice acting, but I'm like, well, I'm gonna let it go, and I'm just gonna see how it goes. And so far, it's been okay. I think Titus he seems like his voice seems very appropriate for who he is so far, and yeah, I can't wait to play more of it. And so it's I mean, I'm just glad to have it finally. I've been waiting for it for so long because as a Final Fantasy fan, you want to be able to just relish the moment. And even though I didn't get much of a chance to play as much as I want to when this came out, like I'm gonna put some more time in. But Daryl, what do you think of the game so far? I think you've mentioned that you've put in a little bit of time too, right?
Yeah, so I'm probably getting close to a couple hours into the game.
Cool.
So I'm a bigger Final Fantasy fan than Kevin, confirmed. Anyways, I kind of put it like this. It is reminding me a little bit of the Xenoblade games in that it starts out and a lot of crazy stuff happens all at once, and you're getting this feeling of, I don't know what's going on, but I'm kind of digging it. I just kind of am. And a couple things now. So this, just the past few months, I've been playing Final Fantasy IX, which I never got to play before, and I've run into some real issues for me with that game. I like it, and I'm not gonna go back on that, but just some just quality of life playability issues. Most notably, I've talked about, where do I go? This is getting a little frustrating, that kind of thing. I talked about it with the guides. For Final Fantasy X, what I instantly noticed is everywhere you go, there's a little mini map on the top left with a arrow that shows where you are and a goal arrow, kind of like more modern type RPGs, which I could see that not being somebody's preference. I could definitely see that, but as somebody who just really wants to, I play RPGs because I want to progress the story. I like the world, I like the setting, but I also just kind of want to, I want to go through it, see if I can find some secrets, and just kind of play through it. I did that with even going back to like Final Fantasy IV. I don't remember ever being all that lost about where to go. I'm just like, oh, okay, I got to go here and do this thing. And as a result, Final Fantasy X feels a little more linear to me, which I don't know if that's going to continue. Obviously, I'm still in the early parts, the really early parts of the game, but it's not a bad thing, and I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I like the characters thus far. I like the world a lot. I like the story that they're doing a lot, just because it is kind of confusing and some crazy stuff is happening, and it seems like a really cool setting. So I'm looking forward to this game more than I can say about most games right now. I'm actually really looking forward to playing more of it.
Yeah, and that's a good point you made, especially about the mini map. I remember the times where I played Final Fantasy 13, and that was one of the biggest complaints from a lot of people, which led to people saying that, oh, this game is super linear, like it tells you where to go and stuff. But you can always turn it off. Like you don't have to abide by that. But I could see why people were turned off by that. And yeah, I mean, like you said, just epic things coming left and right in the very beginning, putting you in the scene, and I mean, I think that's the way that Final Fantasy should be. Just like a bunch of things happening. It's like, okay, you're not sure, you don't know how to comprehend it, but just gonna go with it and see what happens. And I think that's just always been one of the motifs of a Final Fantasy game, a good Final Fantasy game. Yeah, it's, and interesting enough, I talked to one of my coworkers about this game or these games, and he was like, "Oh, yo, dude, Final Fantasy X2, my favorite Final Fantasy ever."
Really?
I was like, whoa.
Really?
I was like, okay, hold up. Why is that? He's like, because the outfits are awesome, and you get the powers from the outfits, and it's the only Final Fantasy game where that is the most important thing. And I'm like, okay, And I'm like, what about the story though? He's like, no, Kevin, it's about the outfits. Okay, I'm like, all right. So that's the thing.
Forget the story, Kevin. We looking fly here.
We're gonna fly, and he's like, you gotta look at Gun Mage, Kev. I'm like, oh, and you know what? I didn't want to spoil it, but I just had to look, and oh my goodness, it looks pretty awesome. It's like,
wow,
how do they even think of these things? Man, like the costumes are so colorful, and outfits. That's the theme of Final Fantasy X2. I haven't played it yet, but it's about the outfits, so
I'm waiting to play through X, and then I'll or 10, and then I'll make the call. I'm leaving the download code just to, if I don't care about it, I'm gonna sell it. And for those of you who've listened to me talk about like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, not caring about the sequel might also indicate that I'm so satisfied with the original game, that I just don't want it or need it, So we'll see. I don't know. I'm excited for 10, and then we'll go from there. Who knows?
I got one question about this game for you. So, are you using the arranged music soundtrack or the original?
I'm using arranged, and
Okay.
I don't switch back and forth too often. They give you this choice at the very beginning of the game, like the very beginning. They also ask you what you want your progression tree to be like. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
Whatever. So I put that on standard because I read on the internet that a beginner should put it on standard. I'm like, fine, whatever. And then the music came around, and the one clip that they're playing at the time sounded better in the arranged version to me. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it. So started out the game, and turns out it starts with the one song that I love from this game. I'm like, oh, oh, that's a good start. That's there. You go.
Do.
Yeah. Oh man. I don't know. The game is really nice to play so far. Like it's cool. It's got some epic stuff going on, but it's also pretty in its own way, and the music is amazing. And I'm happy with it.
Me too. Personally for me, shameless plug right here, especially with Sergio recommending me this. With the mono price modern retros. I mean, it sounds really good though. So. I wore those the whole time I've been playing Final Fantasy X so far, and with the Saphir Grid, I did look it up as well, and there was one post from I think Steam or Reddit that said if you want to, have like if you want to be better prepared for the post game, go with the standard Saphir Grid. If you want it to be a harder challenge but have more flexibility later on in the game, then go for the expert. So I was like, you know what? Whatever. I just go with standard because I mean, maybe I'll play it again if I really, really like it, like a second playthrough in the expert. I don't know. We'll see, but standard's the way to go. So yeah, I enjoy it too so far, given the 34 minutes I've been playing. Yep, Final Fantasy X.
Nice, and I think that wraps us on Final Fantasy. So I'm gonna move on. To the other big game that came out, was it today? Holy crap. Cuphead actually dropped this week, and I did pick it up, and I've played about 20 minutes of it so far, all in co-op with my wife, which has been really entertaining. Like, I see why this game got so much hype when it came out, and I see why people get frustrated with the game because of the difficulty. It's definitely there, but we're having fun with it. It was we were getting a little frantic by the end, and just decided to put it down. And that was probably a good choice. But we managed to beat a couple levels completely in co-op, and I enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. So as somebody, I just kind of watched from the outside on it before. It's nice to get a chance to play it. So thanks to our friends at Microsoft. And yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more of that one. I think that's all I'm going to say on Cuphead.
Well, I think, and I haven't bought the game yet, but I really do like how aesthetically pleasing it is. Like just that 1920s, 1930s cartoon style. Like that art style is so legendary. Just the way they're able to convey that into a game, and even our community is so hyped on this game coming out on the Switch, and I'm like, whoa! I was a little surprised, to be honest. Like, man, like I didn't know there was so much love for this game, and then, man, like people are like hyping this game up, like even as a release on the Switch. It's like, okay, well, this must be a must play for the year, like, and so it cannot be missed.
Well, I think it's going to do really well. I think it's going to do really, really well, and it's going to prove, hey, this is the right way to go, Microsoft. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's just that partnership. I don't know. I mean, it's Sony. Where are you? Like, come on.
They're off in a corner planning their streaming console. Serge, are you looking at picking up Cuphead or interested at all?
Oh, it is downloaded. It's
Oh,
just
nice.
hasn't been played.
Good to
Yeah, no, I've been really looking forward to this, and I think Kevin, it's more of a two-factor thing. People have been following this game, people that don't have an Xbox or couldn't play it on PC, and they have been wanting to play it, and then also the fact that this is the beginning of a good relationship with Microsoft bringing over their games. So there's there's two reasons to get the game, and I agree. I think it's gonna do really well, and I cannot wait to play it. Daryl, I do have a question. You may or may not know. I'm wondering if the game is either easier or harder in co-op than single player.
Ooh.
For the record, I fall into both those categories from earlier. So from what I can tell, and I don't know if they are ramping the difficulty when you do go into co-op. So I don't know if it's worse if you go into co-op or not.
Right.
You can revive each other. So now that takes skill. That's not one player dies, and wherever they die, they turn into a ghost and start floating up in the screen. The other person has to jump and grab them. So if you're not in the right situation, if you're not in the right positioning, or something unlucky just happens, they're toast and they don't come back. Then one person keeps going on the rest of the stage. So we've had that a few times. But I don't know if they dynamically ramp the difficulty. I have not played it by myself yet. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll report back. We'll find out.
Cool, no problem. Thanks.
Good stuff. Wait, there's original jazz recordings? What?
I think so. Yeah, they went all out.
Oh my
The
goodness.
music, the art style.
It's not just the art style. I mean, they went.
All
I mean,
out.
you
Wow.
open up the game and it's like this almost this barbershop quartet singing about Cuphead. And all the music is kind of fitting the right style, and the writing is kind of the fonts look good. The attention to detail in this game is phenomenal, really, really good. That said, even to the point that some of the stuff is really creepy and kind of unsettling to look at. That's
what?
here too, but it's cool. It's cool to experience it. It's one of those games as art type things.
You hit the nail on the head about that. Just looking at some of the pictures and the images that are shown online, and even on the website, or even back when it first came out, I was just I had these flashbacks as a kid, when I see those kind of faces, I'm like, oh, ugh. It's even worse than the Hills Have Eyes from Super Mario Brothers 3. I was just whoa, why am I feeling this way? But I mean, I think it just goes to show how good the art is. They nail it down to a T.
No, it's good. So far I would recommend it. It does seem to be very challenging because the first few levels are pretty difficult. So I'll definitely report back. But that's not really a bad thing. For me, I like difficulty. So yeah, we'll try it.
Yeah, and I think most people that know about the game know about the difficulty, so it should be easy to avoid. I didn't know what I was in for.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, cool. I mean, I guess with that, you guys want to jump into Yoshi? Let's talk about Yoshi.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think I'm going to start with Sergio this time because I think you should give us the rundown.
Yeah, for
Let's
sure.
go, Serge.
And I know most of our listeners probably thought, man, these guys are not going to talk about it. But we are. We were just doing mellow mode in terms of talking about this game.
Ooh.
No, we were just, we're taking our time with the game. But from what I can tell just in our discussions, and now we're going to talk about it on the podcast, yeah, we have all been enjoying it.
Yeah, personally for me, I love the art style. I think the way everything is crafted, just a little attention to detail, I think is really nice. And even the way they crafted Yoshi too. I'm really glad they brought in, all 8 different colored Yoshis. I'm a personal fan of the yellow one just because I actually have one that I got from a toy grabbing machine back in the day on a very lucky grab from that machine. And yeah, I think, Sergio, what do you think about the music? What is your take on the way it's being played?
Yeah, and good question, because that's been sort of a negative in most of the reviews out there. To me, honestly, I don't mind it in terms of how the compositions are similar. Yeah, it's basically the same tune done in different styles, but I don't mind it. The thing that I do mind a little bit is that some of the same songs do repeat a little often. Like the very first song from the first level, you kind of hear it around level 5 or 6 again. And I'm like, I mean, it's a good song, mind you. And other than that, I don't mind it at all. It's actually really well mixed.
Yeah, for sure. I think the intention of the way they structure the melodies and like just having to play that certain theme like in different ways over and over. I can see why they did that for Yoshi's Crafted World, but at the same time, I wish they could put maybe a bit more of a jazz influence into it. Because when I think about the music from Yoshi, I think about Super Mario World 2 or Yoshi's Island, and like when I was a little kid, I didn't like before I even knew what the word jazz was. I felt like there was just something about the music that just got me popping. Like, but I couldn't describe it at the time. Like I was so young. I'm like, okay, well, even when I'm in playing that level, the World 3 boss against the Piranha Plant, and I'm like, whoa, like it's jaggedy. It I don't know. My heart just jumps up a little bit, but not too much, and like I'm in this tension mode, just trying to beat the Piranha Plant, and at the same time, like it just makes me feel like it's just that adrenaline rush. And I feel like with this game, I don't have that same feeling, but I think maybe that might be a little unfair because it's a different composer. The art style is different, but I just wish, I'm just nitpicking now, but I wish that it had more of a jazz influence. But other than that, I think I could see why they made the music the way they did. Like it is very fitting for the arts and craft like feel of the game. So.
Well, yeah, it sounds like I don't know. This is kind of a specific reference, but if you've ever been around a bunch of kindergartners playing like the simple recorders and cymbals and things like that, like tambourines and things, I have. That's a lot. I've seen that a lot where a bunch of kids playing music. That's kind of what this reminds me of, and that's. I don't mean that quite as harsh as it does. Bottom line, I'm not that fond of the music, to be honest. I don't know. I think it fits, but it's not something I want to listen to most of the time.
Yeah, me either.
So it's all right. It does an okay job setting what the levels are, and it's fine. I'm not here for these great compositions or anything. I kind of knew what I was getting into from the first trailer. But it's not my favorite thing, but. The rest of the game is so. I mean, the word that I was reading, I was looking through reviews on Metacritic and looking for this word is charming. Just everybody was talking about how charming this game is, and this game is so much charm and it's charming. It just over and over and over. But honestly, that's accurate. Like it actually is. It draws you in because it is so dang cute and just funny and you're jumping between these painted fish that are actually on like Dixie paper plates, and you can tell that it is, and just the way that they actually animated that is really funny. Like it's it's really cute, it's funny, it's very it's good at world building, and it's just nice to see. And so what I've been kind of pleased to see is that most of the people who have gotten this game and are talking about it are like overwhelmingly positive on it. And they are primarily because as you go through the game, the levels are so varied and interesting and just downright fun as you go through the game that it draws a lot of people in even from the outset. And yeah, definitely see that. Definitely see that. What it reminds me of in kind of an odd way is Paper Mario Color Splash, actually, which got a lot of hate for the battle system and a lot of hate for a few other things. But honestly, the levels in that game were all different, all really funny, all pretty incredible. So it's a good positive callback to me, kind of the same feeling I had playing that game.
Man, I want that game so much on the Switch. You have no idea.
Did you play it on the Wii U?
No.
Yeah,
I do have it, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
It's interesting. I can see some of the complaints, but I really did like it. And it's got good music, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And now, one of the other negative aspects of Yoshi's Crafted World that we kind of haven't seen on reviews is the fact that sometimes you have to revisit levels to get called souvenirs, and you're
A
looking
lot.
for,
Backtracking.
yeah, you're looking for like 1 or 5 or more, and I don't know. To me, honestly, I don't mind it so much. I guess because once you get enough of the souvenirs that you're looking for, the game kind of lets you just end it right there. And
Yeah,
you're
that's
done.
super nice. You can just it actually asks you. It's like, hey, you found 5 of these. You want to exit? And I'm like,
Right.
sure. The only problem I have is when I exit the level, I'm like, sweet, I found that, and I go back and talk to that robot guy, and he's like, oh yeah, I also need these in that level. And you're like, really? You couldn't send me on one shopping trip with 2 things? Come on.
It just seems like they're just trying to add more hours to the game, and maybe that's not the intention that they have. But I mean, it is nice to a certain point to collect those souvenirs. But I think one thing that kind of bothers me a little bit now, I don't know if this might be controversial, but I think it's awesome to collect the costumes, but I don't like wearing them. I do not. It's
I
weird
don't either.
because, like, yeah,
Yeah.
it makes the Yoshi too bulky.
Yes.
I mean, it's nice to just have the Yoshi try it on, and I can like rotate left and right on the joysticks and stuff. But when I'm playing it in the level, I don't know. I just want to see Yoshi like freeform without the costume. Or if you have the costume thing, don't make it into that boxy sort of form. Although I think it's nice. It's just I don't.
It's
just not my
really
cup of tea.
cute to look at, and then you start playing the level, and you're like, I don't want to be the purple car
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or the train.
It made
or,
me
like-
kind of like I like what they went for. Honestly, I like the way it looks. It's really funny. But it made me kind of miss the different yarn Yoshis from
Yes.
Woolly World.
Mm.
Like the Mario colored Yoshi made out of yarn and
Yeah.
stuff. That was pretty sweet. I really liked that. Also, I want to get into. So this is another game. I'm playing it completely co-op with my wife.
Oh.
I'm not doing any single player at all, and I don't intend to. And we're going through every level, and we're not doing the souvenirs yet. Kind of the same way I play Mario games. When I play this type of game, I'd prefer just to come back to the levels later on and re-experience them rather than grind them as I go. So we're not doing any of that. We're going through the level. We're getting all the flowers if we can. We're going to the flip side, finding the Poochie Pups, and then moving on. And that's a nice way to do it because you get to see a lot. You get to see a lot a little bit quicker than just like,
Right.
okay, I gotta go find 5 more lobsters here. You know, that kind of thing. But in co-op, what's interesting and why that ties to the costumes is, man, you get in each other's way a lot.
Yeah.
And
Ugh.
like, so Yoshi's main mechanic is, sticking out his tongue and eating enemies and turning them into eggs and such. You can eat your co-op partner, and then you steal all their eggs, and then they get mad at you, and you throw them off a cliff, and it's just you,
It's not that. I mean,
you try to land on the same thing, and you keep like jumping on each other's backs instead of actually just like standing beside each other. And you're like, no, stop! And it does. So far, it's mostly just making me laugh. Like, it's mostly just funny, but I could definitely see it being frustrating at times because it's like, so something like Donkey Kong or something like Cuphead, it doesn't really matter if you're playing co-op in terms of, you still have full control and you're not going to like bump into each other. This game is not like that. This game,
Right.
you cannot operate or be in the same space as each other. So, and when, I don't know that it actually makes it worse, but when both people are wearing costumes, man, at least visually, it makes the whole level feel claustrophobic. So, yeah. So that's, I mean, that's a fairly minor complaint because right now it's making me laugh. But if there are any like really tight platforming challenges, which I kind of seen some later on, I'm a little nervous about that.
wait, so if you're doing co-op though, what about those levels where you're like that big Yoshi robot thing and you have to, punch your way through and get the most get as many points as you
Oh,
can?
yeah.
Like, do you both control the
One
thing,
player
or-
controls each arm. It's actually pretty cool.
Oh, that's pretty creative.
It's actually
yeah.
pretty cool. Like I was curious about that as well, and then I saw it and I was like, oh, well, that makes perfect sense, and then you just kind of coordinate. Well, okay, I'll get the high stuff, you get the low stuff, and oh man, you missed it, like So yeah, it's a good time. It really is a good time. I'm very glad I got it, and we will definitely keep playing it.
It's good stuff. I mean, so what does your wife think of it so far? Does she really like the game? Like, does she like does she have the similar complaints with like, the costumes and all that? Like, what's her overall take?
Oh yeah, we're we're almost completely aligned on it, I think. But she's the one who's asking to play it, which is a really really good sign.
That's good.
And, I talked on the cast before. It's not really a secret. I got it because she looked at it and wanted it, and I like playing co-op games with her. So yeah, 100%. Yeah, we're doing that. But then she'll come back to and say, "Hey, you want to play Yoshi?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." Let me save or something. We go over. So it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun for me.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that's a really good way to bond too, and just I mean Yoshi. I mean, it's like it's a good platform to do it. So that's nice. And yeah, I'm gonna go through the game as much as I can on my end too. And I don't know if I'm gonna be as nitpicky about the souvenirs. I'll try to get as many as I can. But it's just gonna. That and Final Fantasy X.
That definitely struck me as, hey, this is an extra thing to do, and it didn't strike me as being required. Now I don't know. I mean, you might get to the end of the game and it might, you only collected 4 of 150 souvenirs. That would kind of suck, but
that would
yeah. So far, it seems like a completely optional thing if you want to play through the level and look for something in the background. It's kind of fun. Sometimes surprisingly hard. So, yeah, I like the game. I think it's polished as anything. I think it's really just fun to play. So that's kind of overcoming everything else for me.
Nice. In a sidebar question, can you, based on what we have played, can you kind of tell why the game took so long to come out? I don't know. I just think Nintendo. I'm pretty sure it was done way before, and Nintendo just wanted to fill out this early part of the year.
I don't know, to be honest. And it's interesting in the fact that they've got a lot of 3D elements, but at the same time, this is kind of a Yoshi game. I mean, you're just kind of you're playing the same mechanics we have since the Super Nintendo, pretty much. I mean, for the most part. Now, I imagine the artwork and such took a long time, so I'm not trying to discredit that. My only thought is maybe they got done with the game and thought it was a little light in actual stuff, so maybe they went back through and actually added some stuff, or maybe they were just saving it for a dead spot and this was just where it fit. Don't know.
I think I have to agree with that. I think it was a business decision. It was the timing. They wanted to release it in late March, and just at a point where, there are going to be indies coming out in April, and then, we're going to get Fire Emblem in the summer. And so, okay, well, maybe this will be a good time to release a Yoshi game that people would love to play in co-op and just have fun with the entire family and friends. And just, I think it was a business decision for sure. And I mean, I thought the timing was perfect. I mean, I don't think they should release it earlier or later. Like, late March.
It worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Although I do wish that I wish I could have spent a little bit more time with Yoshi, because now I have Final Fantasy X, and I think I'm gonna try to figure out how to do that, because then there's an expectation of being a perfectionist, as like guys like Dragon has mentioned. Shout out to Dragon, and Shy Guy, they both want 100%.
Yes.
YCW, and I can understand that, and I do think that this would be a great game to speedrun. Especially for charity in those summer game, those I'm blanking out the names.
Yeah,
I cannot believe it.
Awesome games done quick or summer games done quick.
Yes.
Yeah,
right. There we go. Good. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this game does have that urge, like, oh, you have to perfect it, you have to get 100%, but at the same time, you don't have to, because I mean, it's meant to be a leisurely, relaxing game, a good platforming game where you're Yoshi, you're shooting eggs out, and just hovering. You can hover for days. I mean, there gotta be some sort of like some video where some person's just trying to hover as long as possible. Like, what is the world record for that? I want to know.
I'm pretty sure until your thumb falls off. I don't think you can. Like, I think you can maintain your height forever. From what I can tell, it just
Right,
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah, you just kind of fly, which comes in very handy in the co-op mode. I gotta say, it really
Sure.
does.
Oh.
Because if I can't
Yeah.
occupy a platform, man, I'm just gonna start flying around. That's what I do.
Good stuff.
All right, I think that probably wraps us up for Yoshi right now. We might come back to that one as we play more of it, depending on exactly how it goes. But so far, I'm really positive on it. Sounds like all three of us kind of are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can say we give it the NJP triple seal of approval.
Bam.
There you go.
There we go.
Two popsicle sticks up from me. Kevin, what else have you been playing, man?
I'm gonna tell you right now, I've been playing more Moonlighter or Moonlighter. You know, it's been shout out to Dragon. You know, he said Moonlighter. I'm like, oh, that's pretty dope. So Moonlighter's been pretty good. I played a few more hours. I beat the first dungeon. You know, with the big golem thing, and I'm loving it. Like, it's a pretty awesome, you know, Zelda dungeon crawler shopkeeper type of game. One of my favorite things to do is to, you know, as a shopkeeper, I wait until those thieves come out, because like whenever you have people come into the shop, you can notice that there's like this little white bubble that pops out like on top of their heads, and you'll see this nefarious mask, you know, in that bubble. It's like, okay, that's a thief. I wonder which item that person's gonna steal, right? So I'm just like waiting for that person to steal something, and then I press the ZL. I'm like, bah, 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 just like try to get that item out of their hands and be like, be gone, like just get out of this shop, you know, and I would have like two people like just waiting in line to get their, you know, just to pay for items, but like, no, I'm focusing on that thief, man. Like, you better not steal anything. And so I thought it was a nice touch. I mean, at some points I could see why it could be a little annoying because you're focusing on selling items, but you know, it's nice to have, you know, a little change up every now and then with a thief trying to steal your items, or you have other. There's this one customer that is very interesting. Like, you can price your item like whatever like value, and for some reason that person will just, you know, most likely will purchase it. And I'm thinking like, man, I should have just priced it at 1,000,000 coins. Like, why am I not doing that?
You have a bright future in mobile game development, my friend. That concept is what we would know as a whale. Right?
A whale, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's a pretty nice thing, but one of the things that I really do like too is I really do like using the weapons and upgrading the weapons. I'm a big spear guy, you know, just coming from, I'm referencing, you know, like just games from Final Fantasy, like from Final Fantasy 9 Freya and Kane from Final Fantasy 4, your favorite Final Fantasy, Daryl, and I'm in love with just the spear weapon, so I use it quite a bit, and the bow too. The bow's pretty cool, but I gotta use the spear. And yeah, I really like the dodging mechanic in the game. Like, there's just certain enemies where you'll start to recognize their patterns, and you just like, you know, dodge one way and just like, you know, beat them to death. And I just like playing this overall, like just you know, just going. Even after going through the first dungeon, but I do have one regret though, like, because when you beat the dungeon, you get these golem like books, these tomes, and then I pretty much sold them at like $500 to $900 a pop, and to my disappointment, to my chagrin, when I looked up online of how much they're actually worth, they're worth anywhere from $2,500 to $3,500 a pop. I'm like, what? And I'm thinking like, yeah, it makes sense, because like when the customers come into the store and they see the item, their eyes are going like, oh god, no, what am I doing?
Give it back. Give it back.
I'm like, and
hey,
like,
so
I don't know.
I actually don't know the answer to this. If you don't check them out, what happens? Like, if they pick up the item, they take it to the register, you have to push a button to check them out. What happens if you don't?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, do they just?
I
want
to try that
the item. Yeah, I'm gonna do that for.
Because I've seen them get a little impatient with you and like start like, you know, dotting. I just wonder what happens. That'd be funny to find out.
Yeah, I mean, because hopefully they'll leave the item there and give it back.
Zeal.
That item's been recalled just now.
Yeah. Actually, no. That was a price error, and I won't honor it.
Oh man, just like just like in real life. No, but I mean, but that's the beauty of the game, though. I mean, you need to just be cognizant of just trying to figure out how much an item is worth, and just take a good guess. Apparently, for me, those golem tomes could have been worth a lot more, and I just messed up there. So it's all good. But there are times where I would have these mysterious items that I don't know what they are yet, and then I lose my life unexpectedly in the dungeon. I'm like, no,
I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah. And I'm like thinking, oh gosh, I have to play again. I have to play again before I just stop for a day. And so,
yeah,
overall,
I want to get back to the game. It's a very cool game to play. It's nice to look at. The animations are great. It's a fun little gameplay loop. So I definitely want to get back to it at some point in the near future.
For sure. And this game also has my, our NJP seal of approval, especially from you, Daryl. I know you like this game too, so I think it's a great game to play just in spurts. And yeah, just if you see that thief, you better catch that person. Otherwise, that $2,000 golem tome is gone. So, anyway, yep, Moonlighter.
Nice. Sergio, what else have you been playing?
I have been playing a scary platformer that came out on the Switch pretty much 2 weeks ago. It's called OVERWHELM, all in capital letters.
Ooh, nice.
Very fitting. So basically, it's kind of a Metroidvania type game. It's more like a Metroid game. There's actually no secrets or destructible walls or any power-ups. In fact, your mission is just to survive, first of all, and make your way around this crazy, scary red world. The default is red, but you can change the color. And you're making your way around, and every time you find a boss, if you're able to defeat it, the enemies get the power-up from the boss.
Ooh.
So, for example, if the boss has like a shield on its head and you have to shoot its tail, then after you move on from that boss to the others, some of the enemies are going to be shielded. And then some of the enemies are going to start flying or swimming or just swooping down on you out of nowhere. It gets crazy. The game does use visuals and audio really well. And even though it's sort of minimalistic, it's very limited colors, 3 colors at the most, and a couple of shades of those. And even though, I mean, the game is pretty scary, especially because the way the enemies are. Everything is pretty fast. I would say it's a little bit faster than something like Super Metroid. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of challenge there. And you can shoot the enemies with the right stick. So basically, it's like a twin stick 2D side-scrolling shooter.
Oh, okay.
Nice. I got a question for you.
Yes.
Is there a reason why it's in that red theme? Is it just because it's like blood sucking, or just to invoke that scary thing, like just that scary emotion? Like, why is it like predominantly red?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, it has to be to add to the, the atmosphere and the scary environment. There, like I said, you can change the color. I did see blue and yellow, but yeah, red is like, oh, this is scary.
Yeah, I mean, and just as somebody it caught my eye on the eShop, and the game looks cool. Like, it's definitely looks like something different than pretty much anything I've ever seen. And I gotta say, I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, that's probably a game I would like, and then I moved on to something else. But no, I'm glad to hear that you actually got it. So it sounds like you're pretty positive on it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's so the main goal, I guess the real ending of the game is making your way through the 5 bosses in a row. Whenever you have 3 lives, and whenever you lose the 3, that's it. You have to start over. You can go to each boss in whatever order you like, and that's kind of part of the appeal, because if you don't like a certain power-up that the enemies get, you can leave that for last. And yeah, so the goal is to beat all 5. I have beat all 5 of them individually, but
oh, okay.
I definitely want to challenge myself to beat them 5 in a row. At first I thought, no, that's going to be too difficult. But when I played most recently, a couple of days ago, I almost beat 2 in a row. after not playing the game for about a week. So you do get more used to it. It controls and flows really well. And the game is out to get you. The enemies are going to go for you for sure. But it never really feels cheap. It's really well done.
That's cool. And from a video I was watching on it, when you lose a life, it starts messing with you even more. And
yes.
Whoa.
Like, it does some weird things, like all of a sudden the sound gets crazy when you lose a life, and then like your visuals and sound get crazy. So like, yes, you have 3 lives, but really you have like 1 good life and then a couple of like, you're definitely handicapped from what I could tell.
Oh yeah, for sure. When you do beat a boss, and if you're able to make it back to like the central area, you get 3 lives back. Basically, you're back to 3, and you're back to
okay, that's cool.
Full health, full vision, and everything. But yeah, and now the enemies are, the enemies are gonna keep getting stronger and stronger, and you stay the same. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Definitely a challenge, and it does control really well.
Are the enemies overwhelming?
See, I've been avoiding doing that this entire time.
I'm sorry. I was like, someone has to say that. I mean, even though it's lame, but oh well.
Yeah.
No, but they do. They are. Even from the start, so they just keep.
Yeah.
They get more overwhelming.
This game enjoys making you feel stressed, and that's obvious in like every capacity. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it though. It definitely looked cool to
Same.
me. So when I heard you were picking it up, I was like, ooh, that's I wanted to hear it from you. So yeah, I'm glad. This one, I'll say, if I'm placing a bet, it'll probably end up on my Switch at some point when it gets on a sale or something.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll be one I can't really pass up. But pretty cool.
Good stuff.
All right, then I think we're gonna wrap it with me. So I've also been playing a lot, actually, of Blaster Master Zero 2. So this is the game I was really excited for from the Nindy showcase, and then they said, "Hey, it's out now." This was the out now game. It was one that wasn't on my radar at all. I didn't know this was coming. I didn't see any rumors or anything. And I really liked the first game, Blaster Master Zero, which is pretty much a remake in which they did like everything better than the original Blaster Master. So playing this, if you've played Blaster Master Zero or even the original, this is going to feel really familiar. There's a lot of the same type gameplay, but they've done some really smart things that I want to point out. So what it is, at least the remake, so Blaster Master Zero, they kind of turned into a fairly light but still kind of substantial Metroidvania type game. So you're going around in a tank in the 2D side-scrolling areas. You're going around in a tank and finding these power-ups for your tank to basically either be better movement or better weapons or what have you, and then that opens up more areas in the game. Pretty standard type gameplay. The cool part is you can exit the tank and go on foot and go into these kind of labyrinth sections where it switches to a top-down view, and you think like the old Contra games, really similar to that. And if you haven't seen Blaster Master, that's pretty much what it is. And the reason I like Zero so much is just like the music was incredible. The gameplay was really, really tight. It kind of got in and got out. It wasn't an extremely long game, but it was substantial enough. It was just fun to play. And Blaster Master Zero 2 takes all of that, and I obviously haven't beaten it yet, so I can't really give a time to complete or anything like that. But the actual gameplay itself is just better, like just plain better in every way. They've done a lot of really smart things with the power-up finding and the actual progression that you go through. Whereas in the first game, it got pretty easy by the end of the game to just like get completely overpowered and just kind of go through and wreck the game. They've done some really smart things in this game to make you overall weaker relative to, and that's not a bad thing. Because you do have some really cool, varied, interesting, different weapons that you can use, both in the tank and on foot. All the weapons are different. For the most part, there's a few similarities, but especially the on foot sections, completely different weapons than Blaster Master Zero, which was one of the areas that it almost became a joke at the end. But they've done some really cool things. They added this little, like, on the top-down sections, they have added this little dodge and counterattack move that can be upgraded to do different things. And they've also done one other thing that addressed a concern I had with the original game, which was it was trying to be a Metroidvania game, but it was also, the world wasn't exactly laid out to be one, so there was a lot of like significant backtracking in that game to get where you needed to be. In this game, they've kind of done away with that by making it actual different planets. So as you're moving through, you are jumping between planets to progress in the game, so you don't have to traverse all these areas you've already seen before. Generally, I don't like that in games to segment it this much, but I think in this one, it's really solved one of the main issues I had with the first game. Man, for $10, there's not much better you can do on the eShop, I don't think. I think this is a really, really tight, fun game, and I'm really enjoying it, to be honest.
That's awesome. And, just given the hype you have for this game and just the series, like, do you feel like, and I'm just speaking on behalf of just, people that I've talked about games in general, and like, I feel like maybe this game needs to get more love. Do you feel like this series is underrated or overrated or like just enough hype? Like, what's your take on that?
I think that the remakes are maybe slightly underknown. The Blaster Master Zero got a lot of attention because it came out like right after the Switch launch, so it was on a lot of people's Switches at the beginning, and it got a lot of praise at that time, and that's great. This one kind of snuck under the radar, and it got kind of buried, I think, by a lot of the other Nindies announced that day and such. But yeah, I definitely think it deserves to be on your radar if you like. Basically exploratory platforming combat games. If you like games that have multiple different styles of gameplay in them, Blaster Master is a classic. I mean, it is an NES classic, and it's a really good game. It's actually on the original is on the NES online service, so give it a try. I mean, it's a really fun game, brutally hard in that format and a little rough, and these games have done a lot to kind of smooth the edges a little bit, but man, it's just, yeah, I really like the gameplay a lot because they do some really cool things with the tank. Like you get boosts and wall crawls and things like that they do some really cool things.
And one of the positives or like the highlights of the first game that I always heard about is that people like how it does feel like an authentic retro NES type of game. Like you could actually make the game the way it is on an NES. I'm wondering if the same can be said for the sequel.
I mean, visually and probably audio, not really. It's and probably even the original would have been a bit of a stretch. Like Blaster Master Zero probably would have been a stretch. This one, they've done a lot of like little graphical effects and things like that. They've definitely kind of buffed it up a little bit in terms of what it's doing visually, but what they haven't lost is kind of the old school appeal of it. It's kind of interesting because they're so if you go back to the NES games of this style, you're thinking like the original Metroid, which did not give you a clue where to go, and a few other games kind of like that where you were just kind of lost most of the time and kind of puttering your way through the world. In this particular one, no, you have objective markers, and it kind of guides you, but still, it's kind of the Super Metroid Fusion type. Like, kind of the general area that you want to get to, not how to get to it, and I love that because sometimes you're surprised by what's around, and it allows you to explore the world, so it's not like really hand-holding you, but it also kind of gives you some guidance, like, hey, you should probably check out this area, it looks kind of funny, and I like the way they did it, and I think they've done a really good job. I'm generally really positive on Inti Creates games. They are responsible for Azure Striker, Dragon Mark for Death, which I love, by the way. The Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, the 8-bit thing, Mighty Gunvolt.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And a whole bunch of other games. And just like everything they do is just, it seems like really, really quality games and just a lot of fun. So I'm very high on them. And based on this, I'll continue to be so.
Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, just based on what you're saying, it seems like the sequel is a very well balanced game. I mean, and just like depending on how you like, just the different perspectives and like what weapons you use. Like, what is your favorite weapon to use out of like all the available like Like, what is your favorite weapon?
So on foot, the way it goes, you get this for the on foot sections, which are the top down. You get you basically have this meter that you can pick between however many weapons that you have blocks on the meter, and as you take damage, you lose blocks off that meter. So you start not being able to use certain weapons.
Oh.
So there's a lot of incentive to like not get hit or be a lot careful, because then you'll lose like some of your more powerful weapons. In the first game, Blaster Master Zero, there was like one clearly best weapon. It was kind of like the wave beam from Metroid. It went through walls. It did a lot of damage. It was fast. It was huge. You know, like the last weapon you get, if you could keep it, man, you just wrecked the entire game with it. In this particular one, there's really not one like that. And the best one, or the last one you get, is kind of a toned down version of it. It's like this beam that it does go through walls, but it gets smaller the more you use it, and it seems a lot more balanced. It's probably the best, but overall, I find myself switching between the weapons a little bit more because they all are kind of good at different things. Like you have this kind of melee weapon, kind of sword slash. You also have a shield that reflects all the beams that hit it. You also have this like spreader shot that's kind of weak, but it's actually really good. There's a lot of different variety on it, so I find myself switching a little bit more, which is actually quite nice. It's refreshing after just kind of playing with one weapon as much as possible in the first game. As for the tank itself, I just need in the first game it got cooler as you went on. Like you started getting like these boosts that you would like damage enemies as you boosted through them, and missiles everywhere, and different charge shots and crazy stuff. So I'm waiting to see exactly where they go with this game. I'm very intrigued based on the power ups I already have.
Nice.
Dang, it sounds like a good variety of weapons. I mean, like I'm pretty impressed. Like and for a $10 game, like that's a really good bang for your buck. I mean, it feels like I haven't played the first Blaster Master, but I'm kind of intrigued now. Like it's
fair warning. The first one is a little rough. Like the NES one is a little rough to play, but it gives you a good idea of what to expect. Is how I'll put it.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, at $10, I would recommend this to pretty much anybody who likes action platformer exploration type games. It's a lot of fun, and it does. While it builds on the story of the first game, I would not call the first game a prerequisite for it. Not really. This one is a little bit harder. Like, definitely it is a little bit harder. I really like the first game, so if you want to start with that, you know, you're not doing anything wrong there. It's a great game. Based on what I played so far, this one is the better game, and that's just nice to see. I like it. It's a great sequel.
Good stuff.
Nice.
So that's it for games I've been playing for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, we went through quite a bit today. I mean, you know, we got the update from Smash, the Joker, and then, you know, just some updates from games like Moonlighter and Yoshi's Crafted World, Final Fantasy X, you know, Overwhelm, and sequel to Blaster Master.
And Cuphead.
and Cuphead. I mean, man, that, you know, the more I look at the art, especially with the characters that look really mean, the more I'm like, like I don't know, I just feel conflicted. Like, but it's in a good way. Like they do a really good job making those characters look really mean and angry. I don't know. It's just something about that art. I don't know. Like you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like it's just so pronounced. Just the way their facial expressions are. I love it. And man, Cuphead. I mean, what a name. So,
all right, then I think it's probably time for Sergio to save us.
Well,
save us.
It is time to jump out of here. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like to chat with us and with an awesome Nintendo gaming community, you can join our Discord group. The description for this episode has a link at the bottom so you can join the Discord. Our episodes are on YouTube. Feel free to leave us a comment about anything we discussed on this episode or any topics that you would like for us to discuss on the show. You can also follow us on social media. We are on Twitter and on Instagram as NintendoJump, and we also have a Facebook group. You can send us your feedback via social media, via Discord, or via our email address at NintendoJumpPodcast@gmail.com. If you want to support this show, the best way to do so is through our Patreon. That's patreon.com/NintendoJump. Another way to support the show would be by leaving a review in your podcast application of choice. We would really appreciate it. This is Sergio, and on behalf of Daryl and Kevin, thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.
What song are we going to get today?
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ooh. That's all I got. I like the whistling. It was pretty good.
Oh, good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye, everybody. Pokemon Center.